time is so far away. You're counting down the seconds every single day. What are you to do? Well, there's one venue I recommend you turn to, where your magic withdrawal will finally be cured. Spend 3 days a week with Super Walt Disney World nerds. You can depend on Matt, Mike, and WDW.
It's Friday, August 28th, 2008, and this is episode 455 of Walt Disney World Today. I am Matt Hotchford from StudioCentral.com. We're at New Ulysses again. I think he's off, probably waiting for Nine Dragons to open and kind of like, I'll be first in line there kind of thing. I don't think he'll have much competition. Joining us on today's show is Len Tessacarthy, the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Len, how's the back of the Explorer treating you?
Back of the Explorer is exceedingly comfortable, especially at night.
You've broken it in by now, right?
It's a little, yeah, exactly. It's a little cooler now in the evenings. It's getting dark a little bit sooner.
That's
absolutely
right.
Fine.
It's Labor Day weekend. Woohoo!
Woo!
Also joining us is Mike Scope of allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
The work of America will never be done. American
Adventure.
Nope.
Hall of Presidents.
That's right. It was one or the other.
It was a 50-50 shot. So, on today's show, we're taking a show topic suggestion from Chad from Muskego, Wisconsin, where it's, hi, I'm Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette. I think annual pass room discounts would be a great show topic. The idea of using an annual pass to gain discounted rooms is always mentioned, but I have questions that relate to the planning of such a trip. And this is, of course, something that I think a lot of people think about. It's a great idea, Chad, so thanks for emailing it in. And if you have a suggestion, just go email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. We're always open to suggestions. So, annual pass holders can get, at certain times of the year, discounts on various rooms. So let's start out with the easy stuff. Len, are certain resorts generally targeted for discounted rooms at each level, like value, moderate, deluxe?
Yeah, so for example, one of the things you can generally count on for discounts is to get discounts at Old Key West and Saratoga Springs.
Oh, yes.
Especially the studios there. But also frequently at the Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Boardwalk for deluxes, Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach for moderates, and the All-Star Resorts for values.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that the resorts that Len had mentioned are on the bottom end of the popularity scale for each of those categories. Not to say that there's anything wrong with them necessarily, and you can't have a good time with them, but obviously, demand is the rooms that are going to go at the other resorts faster, so you're often going to find, like Len mentioned, the studios at Old Key West and at Saratoga Springs, so they always try to get people to take those because there's a lot of excess capacity over there.
Yep.
Chad also wants to know, are annual pass discounts available in the summer months or just during the slower travel periods?
They're available throughout the year with the exception of things like Easter,
Christmas.
And Christmas. Yeah, it's difficult to get.
And New Year's also.
Yeah, and New Year's. Yes. So right, and then those are the only times that I think it's not possible to get a discount. But other than that, I think they're available for pretty much any time of the year. I mean, literally, I think every single day of the year.
I'm wondering, Len, if you think, and Mike, feel free to chime in on this.
Mm-hmm.
With the economy being what it is, do you think we're going to see more annual pass discounts come out? Because what's happened before, for those unaware, is really the amount of annual pass discounted rooms kind of seem to be slimming down in the past year or so, especially when the economy was really heating up. And now with the economy where it is, I'm thinking maybe there's a chance that we could see a little more discounts being thrown our way.
Well, my guess is that Disney will be reactionary in this rather than proactive, I guess.
Right.
I think they'll wait and see, and they'll chart and they'll watch and monitor the room quotas and see if they're met and compare them to previous years. And if they see a trend, my guess is that we may not see as many added, but we may see deeper discounts, I'm guessing, because I can remember deeper discounts in the past, and they may prefer to go deeper rather than offer more rooms. I mean, more dates.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mike. I remember after September 11th, Disney was really hurting, and I mean that kind of blindsided them. But obviously, what they did was they were really throwing out those deep discounts that you had mentioned, Mike. Also, Len, I know we had mentioned in previous shows they even went as far as to throw some of their value rooms up on like Priceline.com.
Priceline, yeah, I remember that.
And that was, and so that was like an option where, Disney kind of holds those options in reserve, and I think you're right, Mike, that what's going to happen is going forward is if they see things really dropping off, they might hit one of their panic buttons and go with one of their options they have.
I don't think they are.
I
don't think they're going to panic. I don't think things are going to get much worse than they are. Could be famous last words, but
the thing is, though, we have to keep in mind that an annual pass now is $500, and they need to convince those people who, not the crazy people like us, but they need to convince those who are considering an annual pass that it's well worth it. And when you're talking $500 per pass, you really need to justify that cost. So that's another reason why I think you may see some adjustments down the road.
So that's actually a good point, because with the ticket increases too, you're still looking at a break-even point of somewhere around 7 or 8 days at a moderate resort with an average discount, in around 3 days or so at a deluxe resort. But at a value resort, it doesn't make sense to get an annual pass for a discount. You really have to be going for quite a number of days.
Right.
Yep.
You're absolutely right about that.
Double digit.
Since room discounts are released only a few months ahead of time, would you book your trip far enough in advance to guarantee a room, then hope for a discount?
Yes.
Yes. And I'd use a vacation planner to check that for me.
Yeah, that's the next. That's actually another interesting tip. Chad wants to know specifically: would the use of a travel agent such as MEI and MassFan Travel increase the chances of catching one of the discounted rooms?
Yes, but here's the thing: the more you use the travel agent, I think the harder they're going to work for you to get you those discounts, right? So maybe the first time you book with them, you're going to be somewhere on the list, somewhere down lower on the list, because they're going to take the people who've booked with them 5, 10, 15, 20 times first. But as you keep working with them, they will you'll move up on the list.
Yeah, I think one of the things. I mean, obviously we have a relationship with MEI and MouseFan Travel. We've had relationships with.
So they jump every time we call. Every single ticket.
And so I don't think we're biased in this because we've used travel agents before they were sponsors, and I think that one of the things we've noticed is that it makes them so much easier, especially for these kind of discounts, because it is smart, like you mentioned, Chad, to book a room well in advance, so that way you at least have a spot. You want to be guaranteed that you're going to be staying somewhere, and what'll happen is then what's great about travel agent is you can tell them, hey, I have an annual pass. As soon as a discount comes out, I want to be able to have that. And the morning they come out, they usually get wind of it like a day or two before. And they'll be on the phone at 7 a.m. Eastern time to make the call for you. And that's just so much easier than you having to do it. Of course, you could do it yourself, but they'll do it for you. You'll wake up that morning and you'll have the room booked under the rate, and there's no chance of it getting locked down. And it's especially difficult with promotions like free dining and things that go by a little bit more faster, and certainly any kind of like quickie codes where they're just trying to drop a special rate out there. So I think a travel agent, regardless of the one you use, I think will definitely make it easier and increase your chances of really getting one of those discounted rooms. Mm-hmm. Is it unrealistic to have your site set on one specific resort, like say Wilderness Lodge? Yeah, you got to be flexible with the resorts. Here's the you have to be flexible in the resorts, and you pretty much have to take what they give you. Here's an interesting thing that I just did calculated the break evens for the annual pass, based on the new numbers, and for a value resort, so it's a base ticket, by the way, it's not with park hopping. So I guess Should I do the straight up comparison and say? Yeah, I think so. You got to have park hopping. You got to have no expiration. I mean, that's a fair comparison, I would say, right? Well, you don't have to have no expiration, but you definitely have to have park hopping, right? Yeah, at the very least. Then it kind of makes sense. Okay, go ahead, talk amongst yourselves about the other hotels. Yeah, getting a specific resort. I think it's going to be, Mike. Would you say it's probably easier during the slower times of the year to get have your eyes set on a specific resort rather than if you're trying to get down, obviously Easter is very difficult, but I'm thinking like President's Week or something like that. Yeah, the thing is, Matt, you have to figure out, it's very hard these days to figure out exactly when the slow times are, because they've obviously recognized when those slow times have been in the past, and they've adjusted by offering extended food and wine
periods. They've extended Flower and Garden. They have the races. They have all these promotions going on. So it's very tough to figure out when those slow times are. But I agree. You need to focus on those slow times. And to get back to the question, I think that what you need to do is focus on 2 or 3 resorts in your price range, and not just bank on getting that one resort that you're hoping to get. I think that once you have established what your budget will be for your room, then you say, okay, what top 2 or 3 resorts would I like to stay at?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I went back in. Okay, so I think Scope is exactly right. I think I went back and did the break-evens, figuring a Magic Your Way ticket with park hopping, including the cost of an annual pass. Still, it doesn't make sense if you're staying at a value resort, even for 10 days. It doesn't make sense to get an annual pass for the average discount you're likely to get. You really have to stay 11 days. For a moderate, though, the break-even point comes on night 6.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, which isn't bad. And then for deluxes on an average, with the average discount, which by the way is 98. It's $87 for tax. 3 actually, night 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, I got a follow-up question for that, Len. It comes from John from Wakefield, Rhode Island. Excuse me. Who writes, should I purchase? I'm going for a 6-day trip in summer 2009 for 2, and was wondering what my options were. I'm looking at staying in either Port Orleans, Riverside, or a deluxe resort. Should I purchase one annual pass to maximize savings on this trip? I have no idea how to calculate the break-even point.
you really should send the spreadsheet out. So,
6 days.
6
Port
days?
Orleans, Port Orleans or a deluxe resort. Does it make sense to buy an annual pass to get, a discount
So with an average discount,
in the summer?
yeah, still okay. Well, again, you have to be flexible on the resort, so it might not be Port Orleans.
Right.
If you get the average discount, which is around $30.50 in 2008 or $34 with tax, 6 days is in fact your break-even point for a moderate. But for a deluxe, the break-even point is.
But there are
3 days.
deluxes in there. There are deluxes and there are deluxes.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So here's the one thing I would say though: if you with an annual pass, you'll be able to park hop. Everyone else will be able to. Everyone else will have to have the park hopping option too for any of this to make sense. Because if only one of you has the park hopping option, then and no one else does, then it kind of screws up the economics of it. So because then you're buying more and your break even point gets farther out. Yada yada yada. I don't know if you guys know this, but the park hopping option for a 3-day adult ticket with park hopping is $280.
Wow.
Hey, Len, I got a question for you, Len.
Yeah.
Regarding the deluxe resorts and the annual pass discounts you would get with the deluxe resorts, would you say that you'd get a better discount? Would you get a better discount, let's say, at Grand Floridian than you would at, let's say, Wilderness Lodge regarding the discounts for a deluxe resort? That's
an interesting question. Let me take a look here.
Well, yeah.
I'm only thinking that because the base price per night would be higher than Wilderness, so I would think that there would be a higher dollar discount.
Okay, so here's an example of discounts that were just out in May through August. The deepest discounts for deluxes were at Saratoga Springs. It was $116 a night. Those were for studios.
Should stay there.
Typical were the Polynesian and the Wilderness Lodge, which were around $96 a night, actually $46 for certain Wilderness Lodge rooms. And the least expensive ones were at the Animal Kingdom and Wilderness Lodge for $46 a night.
So I think Mike has a point that it's sort of relative to what you're saving. I mean, the more you spend, the more you're potentially saving.
No, not really, because Saratoga Springs is a studio.
Oh, yeah, that's the exception. That's a good point. But on the flip side, Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge, which are the cheapest of the deluxe.
So excluding the Saratoga Springs and I'm assuming Old Key West, which are always discounted. Yeah, I think.
All things being.
No, here's okay. So let me go back. You'd have to go back to 2006. And in 2006, the ones with the steepest discount were the Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Boardwalk at $156. The next ones after that were Old Key West and Saratoga Springs. And then the ones after that at $130 were Animal Kingdom, Contemporary, Grand Floridian, Polynesian. So no, it's not really relative to what you spend. I think what they do is they factor in the popularity of the.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
It's demand.
Yeah,
it's more demand than it is price.
Nice work on that.
Thanks.
We get speaking of annual pass discounts, we often get this question. This comes from Laura Garcelle of Warren, New Jersey. Right, so I have to purchase the annual pass before I can get a price quote on room rates. Is there a way to get an annual pass price for rooms, then decide to purchase an annual pass?
Most good travel agents have their own annual pass, and they can tell you what the discounts are likely to be.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you have to also keep in mind is you can book it without an annual pass, and all you have to do is make sure you have the annual pass when you check in. That's the key.
Is that true now? I thought you had to.
I thought that was still the case. I know I did that one time. I had like the voucher with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, here it is. And they were like, okay. I mean, I had to go to the parks and redeem it, and they allowed me obviously to check in. They just said I have to stop by the front desk and just actually show it to them to make sure I actually redeemed it.
Fair enough.
But they were able to do that. That was about 2 years ago now, so that may have changed. I don't know if you've heard anything different, Len.
No, I haven't, but it was just interesting to hear. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Are there any other kind of
What other benefits do you get for having an annual pass besides the hotel discounts?
Well, there's quite a bit. I mean, they change from year to year. Unfortunately, they kind of dwindle down a little bit. It's it can vary. And we had another email from Ashley who wanted to know about annual pass discounts for deluxe rooms. But I think, Len, you kind of pretty much spelled out the discounts you can get for a deluxe room over there. So thank you, Ashley, for that email.
Yeah, it's around the average discount's $98 a night. The minimum is $52 a night. But even at $52 a night, your break even is somewhere between nights 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And if you would have stayed off-site and had to pay parking,
yep,
and, at a comparable resort, it's actually one night less than that.
Yeah.
Parking's $12 a pop, right?
Yeah, it's gone up now to $12 per day, and that for that just annual pass is almost worth it. I mean, especially for longer stays. And that's something again. Len, you had mentioned perks, and certainly if you're staying off-site annual pass, never mind that you're not saving any money on the room that you're staying at, but it does save you money on parking.
It actually bumps up your break-even night by 1 day on the deluxes. Actually, by if you're staying off-site, by a couple days, by 3 days if you're doing a moderate. That's interesting. And then if you were considering staying off-site, your break-even point is 7 days at a value resort, even with a minimum discount. That's interesting. So really, parking, you have to factor in parking there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you were staying off-site and you were saying, look, I'm going to spend, $70 a night off-site, or I can spend $70 a night or, less on-site.
Yeah, and one of the strategies we often tell people, when they're trying to get an annual pass discount is don't overlook the prospect of getting just one annual pass for the people in your group. You don't get an annual pass for necessarily everyone in your group.
Yeah,
it might not make sense, but
it has to be for the adult that's paying for the room.
Yeah, that's a good point, Len. But certainly you might want to employ that strategy so you can take advantage of the discount and not have to shell out enough money for an annual pass for everybody. Because a lot of times what people find is we're going there for long enough to make an annual pass discount work in your favor, but you're not going to – it's not necessary for everybody because you're probably – the tickets that you're really looking for length don't agree with an annual pass. Exactly. So that's a good strategy to employ. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and the on vacation Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.